Hello, so today is going to be another VOD review today. So we're actually going to be going over a game. I'm going to be talking a lot about it. This is going to be a Wukong Jinx game. It just ends up being Wukong Jinx. So as you can see, I start out, high voltage is pretty good. Built diff isn't that great. I don't have a good spot for zap attack in my opinion, like items or units. So it comes down to like, do I take scoreboard scrapper or do I take something like Martyr? The comp that I want to play is I want to play the Hunter backline with the Wukong as the front line. Unleash the Beast isn't the greatest thing ever, but it's quite good on Olaf. And it's quite good on Hunters in general because you play around Olaf, so it's not the worst thing in the world. But I'm looking around, and there's a lot of people that look like they're setting themselves up for rerolls. There's a lot of worth the wait players, so I definitely want to angle myself towards a reroll in this lobby because majority of the lobby looks like they're going for 3-star units. It is Scuttle Puddle, so boards will cap very high. So I'm not too worried about being able to transfer this Sterix gauge onto another unit later. If you look at the stats, I'll try and point out the stats just for fun. You might notice that like a Wukong 3 with Unleash the Beast is really well placing in the stats. That's not necessarily true. Like that's not why I took it, right? Like, if you look Unleash the Beast and you go like Wukong 3-star, you'll see that it does like really well. The reason it does well is because it's really good with spin to win, right? When spin to win makes like your Wukong the main damage dealer kind of, and you want to put like sword items on the Wukong because now his ability scales with AD instead of scaling with armor. So that's like more if I hit spin to win. Then Unleash the Beast is like a really broken combination with spin to win. The reason I took is that it's quite good on Olaf. It's not the best performing one, but I was just trying to take something that was like pretty good for my spot. Of the other options that I had, I didn't really see anything there that was like super great if I was trying to play around Hunter's Jinx. And the reason I want to play around Hunter's Jinx, for example, was because of the here, for example, I'll go like Wukong, I'll go Jinx, I'll go 3-star, I'll go 3-star, something like Martyr. It's not that good. As you can see, it's usually like it makes the placement a little bit worse because the problem with Martyr is like when a unit dies, your other units heal, but like most of your units are in the back line, so it's usually like the Wukong dies, then your back line just dies, so Martyr doesn't get that much value. And then like the other augments I felt like weren't that great. Unleash the Beast, you'll see that it's not the worst, it's not the best, but it does give me an item, and it's something that I could put on the Wukong that can carry me a lot through the early game. So I'm kind of trying to tempo it and then eventually put it on an Olaf. That's like the idea that I have, at least, because it's a whole item that I get put up. And if I look around, a lot of people are going for rerolls. I saw 2 worth the weights and 1 Draconic Mastery guy. So in my head, the way that I'm looking at it is that, okay, I'll just take this augment, I'll play around the item. I'm making 30 gold because it's Scuttle Puddle, so I'm very rich. You could play Unleash the Beast. The main way that you usually play it is with Hecarim reroll. I did have a Hecarim. I could maybe play Multi-Striker, but there was somebody that was holding a bunch of Multi-Striker units, so I just decided like I'm just going to commit to Wukong Jinx. I feel like with this patch, I talk about this set a lot. One of the aspects of this set is that a lot of times it feels like you have to commit pretty early towards 1 or 2 comps. It's hard to play super flexibly and just say like, oh, you know, I'll take Unleash the Beast and maybe I'll play towards like, you know, Karma or Fiora Warriors or something like that. That was definitely an option, right? I could have taken my items. I could have made Titans with Unleash the Beast with something else. I could have done something like that and angle myself towards Warriors. But scouting around, there's one guy that's holding Multi-Strikers and Annihilate. I don't know if he's got pivoted to Warriors. I don't know exactly how it's going to go. And then, you know, you don't want to necessarily run yourself into a comp where you don't have as much faith in it. Wukong Jinx is very strong. Even if you don't have the perfect augments, as a reroll in a lobby that looks like most people are going to be hitting 3-star units and are going to be rerolling, it's very important to note that, or it's very important to like understand that playing around a reroll is probably more favorable, right? If this guy ends up rerolling towards Multi-Strikers, I'm not sure. If he ends up pivoting Warriors, I'm not sure. So, you know, early game, when I'm slamming my items early, I'm trying to streak this stage, right? Wukong is very hard to deal with in stage 2, and that's why the item augment worked out really well for me, because I get an item that gives my Wukong a lot more sustain. Sterix is a pretty good tank item, and the Wukong does a decent amount of damage. It's not the best item on Wukong, but now, as you can see, I make my second Wukong item after Carousel. I should be really strong for stage 2, and that will set me up really well for the rest of the game, right? I'm making 40 gold, I'm decently rich, I'll be in a good spot. is what I'm trying to say. So that's why I ended up taking that augment. I will actually make like a guide on like how I choose augments and stuff like that, because sometimes it's a bit confusing. You know, sometimes I'll be like, hey, this augment's really good, and I'll say like, oh, this augment isn't that good, but I feel like my spot's good for it. I'm gonna try and do that for like towards the end of the week, because I think it would be like another fun guide for people who are trying to learn the game a little bit, or maybe learn off of me for, you know, for whatever reason. I'm grateful, but I'll try my best to make good resources for you people. Anyways, we hit a Wukong too early. This is pretty high roll. Scuttle Puddle is a high roller's dream, right? If you hit early game really, really hard, and you hit some augments really, really hard, you get really, really far ahead. This is a game where, as from this spot right now, I'm 100 streaking with a Wukong 2. Part of it is because I took Sterix. Part of it maybe not. Like, there maybe was another option, another niche line that I could have played, but I could have taken, like, Ionic Spark and then have, like, an extra item there. Item augments typically aren't that great in Scuttle Puddle because you get so many items as well. But maybe I can, like, you know, eventually, like I said, the Sterix gauge might not be the best item on Wukong. If I hit spin to win, it's broken, and it's game winning on the spot. And because it's Scuttle Puddle, I expect to have items and to itemize Olaf, so eventually I will put the Sterix on the Olaf, and then Unleash the Beast on Olaf is pretty good. That's like the idea. So it's going to get value late game, and it gets a lot of value early game. I'm using it to tempo, while a lot of people are just like trying to build their boards and hit their rerolls and stuff like that. So you're at 5 streak. You notice that I could have sold the Twitches to make 50 gold last turn. The reason I didn't make the econ interval is because Twitch is sometimes hard to find, especially if other people are playing around hunters and or similar units, Frost or hunters. It makes it a little bit difficult later, so I don't want to run into a spot where I don't have a Twitch late game, so it's worth more than the gold in my opinion. Right, like I can make 50, but that's just like +1 gold, and it's Scuttle Puddle, and I'm win streaking. I might as well just hold on to the extra Twitch to make sure that I'm fine. Here I get dropped another Wukong, as you notice. Like I said, this is a high roller game. If you high roll in Scuttle Puddle, there's a good chance you're just gonna instantly get within the top 2. So as of right now, I think that I'm gonna get within the top 2. Some of the worth the wait users, like I think like maybe one of them will run into a spot where they'll be in like a game-winning spot. If any of them hit, then they'll get like a free 4-star, because like, you know, you'll just be in a really good spot for late game. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. Here I have the Quinsu for the Jinx. I got dropped 1 Jinx. You might have noticed that somebody else hit a Jinx 2 on the side of their board, so I'm gonna be slightly contested on Jinx, but I have so many Wukongs that I should be fine. Here I'm gonna make IE. Now the reason I made IE is because the sword could be used to make another Olaf item. I think Deathblade is better on Jinx, but I'd rather just make IE to keep the sword open, right, to have the item available to itemize Olaf in the future. I think it's just a better use, right? Slight optimization is that Deathblade would probably be better on the Jinx right now, but I want to make an item in general. The other option was I could have made Steadfast Heart, but I'd rather just make a second Gargoyle, so I'll just chill basically with IE instead. I think that's like my best output of damage. So here I'm playing with 4 Hunter. I'm tailoring Hunter. If I get spin to win, I win on the spot, right? That's basically it. If I get spin to win, I win. It's a guaranteed first. I roll silver, so I can't get spin to win. I also can't get stuff like Hunting Frenzy or the Runads Augment. Like, there's a lot of like win cons with this Jinx comp that are very, very important to know. So for example, here I'm just gonna take team building, by the way. It's a silver augment, so I didn't see anything that's like really good combat. Like Exiles is probably like decent to get, but none of these really like strike like amazing board, if that makes sense. I take the duplicator one instead of the rolling one, because I'm not sure if I'm going to be contested, because I saw another guy building Jinxes. I didn't scout properly to make sure, but I don't want to like be in a spot where I just have extra rolls and they all fruition into nothing. I have so many Wukongs already. I basically need to find 3 more Wukongs, and I have Wukong 3. And that's very, very close. It's starter stage 3, it's Scuttle Puddle, I'm rich as fuck. There's no way that I'm not going to hit Wukong 3 this game, so then I can kind of build a board around that anyway. So I want to have the duplicators rather than the rolling augment, because I think that it will be a little bit more, a little easier to hit that. This is the guy that I think, this guy isn't even making Jinx 2. There's another guy that made a Jinx 2. This guy also looks like he's playing Jinx, so I don't know how contested I am. I should properly scout, but instead I'm just going to show you the stats for a second, just to identify some of the win cons with this board. I did talk about it before, but as you can see, if you sort by like placement, you'll see there's some of them that are really good that are like the item augments for frontline units. So stuff like Crown Guarded, Dragon Spirit, even big games, just getting your Wukong really, really, really tanky is also really great. I should just filter by like gold. Gold are all the game-winning ones. Spin to win is like game-winning on the spot in a lot of cases. Things like Thornplate is really good because Wukong has like it can make great use of it. Category 5 is extremely good. Like basically like all of these to a certain extent are like almost like in game-winning spots. You'll also see that at one point some of the other augments start to get good, like Unleash the Beast and Hunter Crest is always good. Hunting Frenzy is one of the best ones. Where's the other one? There was like the Edge of Night augment that also is pretty good sometimes, because a lot of times if you're like high rolling hard enough and you can use the augments to itemize the Olaf as well, then you'll put yourself in a good spot. But mainly usually the frontline augments, they're usually like not very often taken, are really, really good with this comp, so they turn into like these game winning situations, either Dragon Spirit or Thorn Plated. Obviously there's small sample size, but you know, they're good just to have Wukong items. And then category 5 is really, really good on Jinx because she can just like randomly hit other units. Like there's a lot of good options. So as long as I hit something good as a gold augment or even a prismatic augment, I should be relatively fine. But as you can see, it's a very, very consistent comp. This is why I was going for more Wukong than trying to experiment with something else. Yes, I took Unleash the Beast, but I was using it more for tempo. This comp is just so much more reliable, and starting out with so many Wukongs, I might as well just go through the easy route of trying to play towards the Wukong Jinx instead. That's how a lot of this patch is, right? And you have to note that a lot of other people are rerolling, so trying to play towards like a 4-cost or a 5-cost board in this lobby is a lot less preferable. If you look at my items, I bought a component anvil because I was very rich, and it's Scuttle Puddle. I took the component anvil to try and make an early item on Wukong. I made a second Sterix Gauge just to get some more Unleash the Beast value. Now I can Sterix Gauge the Wukong as well as Sterix Gauge the Olaf. That's totally fine. The Sterix Gauge doesn't do that much. The augment mostly is for like increased attack speed and like CC immunity. That's not super important on Wukong, but it does help him a little bit in being able to cast to have a level of survivability. So it is still a decent item to put on the Wukong. With the augment, I put double Sterix. He's Gargoyle, double Sterix. They do give a bunch of HP, the two of them. So like when you drop below a certain HP, you get like a bunch of HP. That's like the whole thing of Sterix Gauge that it does. So having double Sterix Gauge on him, he's gonna have like a lot of HP to survive and a lot of armor because he's solo frontline with the Gargoyle, which puts me in a good spot for like most of this mid game. As you can see, because it's Scuttle Puddle and I was high rolling, I'm already level 7. I lost one round, which was the previous round. A bit unfortunate because if I can keep my streak going, I would have been in a really good spot to just like completely dominate the rest of the game. But now I'm going to start slow rolling on level 7. When I say slow rolling, I'm going to stay above 50 gold, but I'm going to roll the excess of 50 gold. I might buy charms to try and streak and make my board strong. But additionally, I'll probably just like pick up the units and try and upgrade stuff along the way. As you can see here, I'm just slow rolling. That charm's not particularly useful, and ideally I can hit a Jinx 2. That would be the best the best case scenario, because then my damage gets increased by a significant portion. But here, as you can see, if I can go for Kog'Maw 3, I might go for Kog'Maw 3. There is a Kog'Maw reroller, so that is another issue. This lobby is very weird because there's like 3 different people playing around shapeshifters, so I expect all the shapeshifter players, like one of them is bound to hit, but it's just a matter of whoever hits. I really don't want it to be the Nomsy guy. Like I would like it if this guy wasn't stable or wasn't really strong. Here I mispositioned. This is maybe devastating. We'll come back to this round. Just remember this round. I didn't scout properly. My Jinx is on the same side as Nomsy. I 100% I think can win this round if I had Jinx on the opposite side, because now the Nomsy is targeting my Jinx first. And as you can see, look how close this fight was. If my Jinx was alive for a little bit longer and she got to her next cast where she starts pumping out rockets, there's a good chance I would have beat this guy right here instead of giving him a free win. And that was just based on positioning, right? If my Jinx was on the opposite side, the Nomsy would target her last, and by the time he kills the Jinx, I would probably have killed the Nomsy. I could have also rolled a little bit deeper because I'm Jinx pair to hit the Jinx 2 to maybe guarantee that round. But either way, just make sure to remember that round because I'll bring it up later. And that's like an important concept when I'm explaining like, you know, some of these things that I'm doing in these games. My positioning is also bad because Kog'Maw, if you see Kog'Maw on my board, Kog'Maw should always be next to your Jinx. because Kog'Maw grants attack speed to your adjacent allies. So my board positioning is a little bit awkward. If you saw, there was a follower that notification pops up. I was streaming live. I was talking to the new follower, you know, thank you for watching, and then they were chatting. Turns out they were just some graphic designer that was trying to scam me. So I threw away a placement or two, and I got myself distracted here for no reason. But it's okay. If you are not a scammer, please join my chat, because if you like my content, you would like to see me play live. I'm not going to be playing that much anymore. I played today, and I didn't have much fun. Right, this Wukong Jinx game, you can say it's fun because I'm winning, but this is kind of indifferent to me. I've played this Wukong Jinx line so many times that it's just like boring at this point. The main thing that I did is I did fuck up with the Kog'Maw. The Kog'Maw has to be next to the Jinx. The Kog'Maw still isn't next to the Jinx, by the way, but I blame the distraction of the graphic designer. There's always something that distracts me. Because I think even in stream I was talking about it. I said Kog'Maw has to be next to the Jinx. Then the graphic designer popped up and I started talking to them, and then I'm like, are you a graphic designer? And it's like, yeah. And then by the time they left the chat, I was like, oh, I guess I'll move the Kog'Maw now. I'm an idiot. I'm dumb like that sometimes. Here as our last augment, we're looking for one of those game-winning ones, right? The Runan's augment, the spin to win. We're looking for hunting frenzy. We're looking for, there's so many things we can hit that are all really, really good. So hopefully we hit one of them. Ascension is not one of them. I don't think Ascension is particularly great. Inspiring Epitaph is okay, I think. It's not necessarily the best one either. Portable Forge can put you in a game-winning spot, but I'll double check in my options here. Inspiring Epitaph is really good. I remember it's one of the best ones, so I think you always take Inspiring Epitaph. Here, I'll show you. This was the thing I had out before. See, Inspiring Epitaph, it's like one of the top 3. I just think that it doesn't work. I really wanted Spin to Win, even though it says Spin to Win is a little bit worse. Spin to Win is so much better for me because I have the Sterix augment, so it works out really, really well as a combination of the two of them. But it's okay. We'll take it. We'll take Inspiring Epitaph. Epitaph is really good because it gives attack speed as units die. So when your Wukong dies, it will juice up your Jinx, and then all the other shitters are probably going to die before the Jinx, or they might even die before the Wukong. So Jinx just gets so much ramping attack speed that things work out. Like I said before, I would like to reiterate one more time, Kog'Maw should be next to the Jinx. Right now, a lot of times I isolate my Jinx early game because I don't want her to get dove and killed by one of the crazy units, like for example this Shyvana. I was hoping to clump one way so that Shyvana doesn't necessarily get onto my Jinx and kill her early. That's how you can lose a lot of fights by cheese really easily if someone bypasses the Wukong. Fiora's the same way, Gwen's the same way, so I have the tendency to isolate one of my units, or the carry, away from the other units to make sure that I don't have to worry about that ever. But what you usually want is you want Kog'Maw next to Jinx, Zilean usually somewhere towards the middle, and then the other units on the opposite side of the Jinx. So, big mistake for me. I still haven't moved the Kog'Maw. Whenever I decide that, it comes to my memory to remember to not be a dumbass and to move the Kog'Maw next to the Jinx, we'll be in a good spot. Item slams as well, I would like to say. So 3 items on Wukong is better than splitting items. So the Sterix gauge stays on the Wukong until I have a 3rd Wukong item to replace with the Sterix gauge. So I keep the Sterix gauge on the Wukong. I can go double Sterix on Olaf once I have Olaf 2. It is Scuttle Puddle. My rolls aren't going as high roll as they were before, but I am still quite ahead of the rest of the lobby because I'm level 7, 50 gold, slow rolling, playing as greedy as possible to try and set myself up to hit 3-star Jinx, 3-star Wukong, and then I can push levels and maximize my board strength by putting in additional 5 costs and other stuff. Like Chrono is a good next in because it gives me some extra healing, and then I can play around eventually having a Morgana 2 and Preservers and everything like that. But anyways, this is always the board that you play. You always play Hunters, and then you put in Olaf with the Twitch and the Zilean. So you play Preservers. Preservers synergize with the Olaf for Frost, and the other Preserver Bard synergize with the Jinx to get the Sugarcraft stacks, and you're trying to get to max Sugarcraft stacks eventually. Like I said, 3 items on Wukong. Eventually, I'll switch those, and I'll move the Sterix onto the Olaf, because I don't think Sterix does that much for Wukong in this case. I'd rather him be more tanky in terms of just having raw tank stats, honestly, with double Gargoyle, I would love a Warmogs, right? Just give him a bunch of HP and just have him be an actual unit in front of everybody. Something like that would be really great. I got my second duplicator now, so I'm gonna roll. I take the charm to buy 4 costs. Here, I could hit Wukong instantly. I just roll a little bit extra because like the way that I look at it is like, okay, I'll just roll till around 30 here. Rolling till 30 is good, just because you can reestablish your econ fairly easily, right? To get from 30 to 40 to 50, and then go back to making 50 gold, so you're making 5 gold per round of interest, is really good. So you want to make sure that you stay above 30 gold when you're doing your rolls, and you only want to go super deep if you're in a stressful spot. Here, because I have the 2 duplicators, I only need to find 2 jinxes. So with that 50 gold, I decide to roll a little bit of it, because if I hit the Jinx 3, I'll be in a very commanding spot. My board will be basically complete so that I can then use my gold to push levels. I should be stronger than most people right now. I'm definitely stronger than majority of the lobby. Wukong 3 is very, very good at tanking, just extremely strong. So I'm pretty happy with that. Like I said, this is very high roll. I started with so many Wukongs. A lot of times you're during stage 4, if you're playing a 3-cost reroll, you're not expected to really hit any of the 3 stars. I'm very close to Jinx and I already hit Wukong. A lot of times you're expected to hit it along stage 5, right? Usually you like roll at the beginning of stage 4, you stabilize, then you rebuild your econ, and then you send it a second time at the end of stage 4, beginning of stage 5, and then you're really strong. Here I'm sending it really deep because I just needed 1 extra Jinx. Because it's such a huge spike, I hit Jinx 3. That's like majority of my damage. My board is essentially complete. Now all I need is Olaf 2. I send it a little bit deeper. It's not always recommended to send it very deep. I'm on the wrong side again for this fucking Nomsy, by the way. I'm so bad at scouting because I was trying to do too much this round. My Kog'Maw still isn't next to the Jinx, by the way. Oh my god, I hate myself sometimes when I look at my gameplay and I'm like, bro, if I just played offline, like, wouldn't this just be like insta win here? And I'm once again maybe losing to this guy. I think I beat him, but like I could have beat him harder, which is important. But it's okay. Anyways, as I was saying, if you're 1 off, so there I had 2 duplicators I'm not going to use on anybody else. So I was essentially 1 off of Jinx. If you're 1 off of a unit, you should roll really, really deep. That's when the econ intervals don't matter anymore. You roll as deep as you can, because greeting the econ, like, yes, you can greet the econ and like make an argument of how you're going to play for first and blah, 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 right? But what's more important is just guaranteeing your placement, in my opinion. Right, if you just roll past, I rolled past 30 there because I was 1 off of Jinx. I hit the Jinx 3. I'm winning the next round, right? I'm winning most of the next rounds. So the sunk cost, right? It's like I either sacrifice my HP and lose those rounds, or I just sacrifice a couple econ intervals and I make the Jinx 3 earlier and I win the rounds anyways, and then I reestablish it that way. It's fine. Like, it's fine. You know, it's not that big of a deal. But anyways, here I can make another gargoyle or something. I'm looking at my items. I don't have anti-heal. I don't think there's a way for me to make anti-heal right now, which is kind of unfortunate. I could reforge some of the items and try and figure out a way to make anti-heal. But ideally, I want to make a Wukong item, or an Olaf item. So, ooh, I could have made red buff. No. Okay, well, I made Titan's BT to complete 3 items on Olaf. I should have made red buff. Oh god, that was bad. Okay, red buff would have been way better because I don't have anti-heal. You put red buff on Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw does a significant amount of damage because he's still a hunter, so he gets all the synergy. If you put red buff on Kog'Maw, it also helps him to cast faster so that the Jinx gets a lot of value off of it. So I should have done red buff on Kog'Maw and then worry about Olaf and Wukong later. Because now I have this Titans, and the Titans is pretty useless. Because eventually I'm going to put the Sterex from the Wukong onto the Olaf. So if I'm going to move the Sterex off of the Wukong, then I don't need another Olaf item. Because the other Olaf item is going to be the other Sterex. Does that make sense? That's why I'm like looking at it, I'm like, oh, this is so bad. You'll see on my bench, I'm holding on to both Rakan and Camille. Camille is a good next in because it gives you free chrono. They did nerf the chrono healing a bit, but it's still substantial. If the chrono procs, your whole team heals like 15% of their health. So here I off tempo level, right? I want to make sure that I continue my win streak. I'm 6 streaking. So if you're 6 streaking, it's 3 gold per round. So there's no need for me to make 50 gold because if I win the next round, then I'm going to be making 3 gold plus 3 gold. So I just level for chrono. There's a chance that I lose the next round. That would be really unfortunate, but I just want to be as strong as possible. I'm setting myself up to being on level 8. Once I hit Olaf 2, I can maybe make it to level 9, make it to level 10, something like that. We'll see how the game shakes out. But basically, I just want to be rolling on stage 5. You're usually rolling for a charm every turn as well. The reason you roll for a charm is because it's every other shop you see a charm, so you want to be in a good spot to buy as many charms as possible. And once you have all those charms, you can win the rounds. And because stage 5 damage is so high, you don't want to be down a charm against somebody else. You'll notice in your lobbies most of the time, people are going to be buying a charm every single round. So you don't want to just like randomly lose rounds for no reason. This guy has the fucking hunting frenzy, by the way. I wish I had hunting frenzy, but it's okay. So he got a couple executes off, so I lost that round, so it's just very unfortunate. I roll here for Olaf 2 because that's the main reason I wanted to level to 8. I leveled last turn because I was trying to keep my win streak going. I failed like, you know, spectacularly at that. So that's my bad. If I scouted a little bit better, I probably should have put the Jinx on the same side as the Kog'Maw, because if you notice what happened last fight is it was too tanky, and I hit the lesser Kog'Maw first with the Jinx, so then the greater Kog'Maw had the shield from too tanky. So if you see too tanky, you always want to position yourself such that you're trying to kill the one that has the items and not the shitter version of the unit, right? With too tanky, they're playing 2 copies of the same unit. If you kill the weaker one, the bigger one becomes stronger. So you have to try and position to try and kill the bigger one first. This guy's really high roll. I don't understand all these dragon players. There's one guy with Draconic Mastery that has a smolder. There's this guy that has 2 smolders. Like, how does everybody have 2 smolders and a briar? Like, can we talk about how high roll this is? Like, this guy's level 9, Draconic Mastery, he has 2 smolders. There's another guy with 2 smolders. How does everybody hit smolder? There's a smolder on carousel for one of them. One of them's gonna have smolder too now. It's like, what am I looking at? Like, you know, I thought I was high rolling, but I'm just saying, this lobby's a little bit ridiculous. Like, there's a lot of people hitting good boards on level 8, level 9. Like, it's a little bit crazy. But anyways, we're just playing it. Hopefully I'm not bitching too much. I'm not trying to bitch. I'm just like trying to make it like exciting a little bit. You know, some of my videos get a little bit boring, I find. I don't know if it's me getting bored or if it's other people. Like, or like, I don't know how it comes across to the viewer experience. But like, you know, like I already made a Jinx video, right? So I'm trying to like make it like, you know, embellish a little bit in this one. Because like, you know, I'm trying to make it like a different, like, you know, an exciting experience for whoever's watching. But like, I don't know. I look at this and I'm bored as fuck. Like, it's just Jinx. Like, it's Jinx Wukong. I've been playing this board for like months now. This board has been strong for like the entire set. Like, there's like one patch you couldn't play it. Like, you know what I mean? Like the only patch you couldn't play this comp was when Wukong was bugged. Because they did that huge change and then Wukong was bugged and he wasn't getting the proper shielding. So then it was just literally unplayable because it was bugged. But other than that, it's been strong the entire set. Like, since day 1, this has been a comp that you can play, I feel. But anyways, I'm fighting Callista, but I'm definitely stronger. My Wukong doesn't die, so that's great for me. As you can see, there's a couple people still left alive. This guy is 1 turn off of Nomsy 3, or he's 1 turn off of Nomsy 4, worth the wait. This is what I was saying before. One of these high rollers, like, I really didn't want this guy to be the one that lived out of all of the other shapeshifter dragon players, because this guy I feel like I actually will lose to. If he makes it to level 9 and he has a Briar 2 and a Smolder, this Nomsy 4 is gonna delete my board. Nomsy is so fucking strong. It's one of the best worth the wait users you can hit. So, you know, there's nothing I can really do about that. The one thing I will say is that, remember that one turn that I said, remember, I'll talk about it later, earlier in the video. If you don't remember, you can go back and check it. I said, if I positioned better against this Nomsy player, I probably would have beat him. It's really going to come into play now. Because, like, you know, I really wish this guy was 1 life less. You'll see here, he has a Briar 2. Briar 2, Nomsy 4, but he has no Smolder, right? The other dragon players hit all of the Smolders, right? Like, there were 2 other dragon players, and they both had 2 Smolders. There was the Draconic Mastery guy that got dropped 2 Smolders through Draconic Mastery, and then there was the other dragon guy that hit 2 Smolders. I don't know how. So this guy's the one guy that doesn't have the Smolder. So long as he doesn't have Smolder, I can beat him. As soon as he has Smolder, it's GG. It's literally GG. Like, there's no way you can beat a Nomsy 4 with a Smolder with the board that I have. I have no, like, excessively crazy win con. You know what I mean? Nothing that's super crazy. I reforged the Gunblade here because I figured that it was kind of useless. And I got a Warmogs, which is pretty much like one of the best things I can get for Wukong. So I'm kind of excited about that. I'm like, hell yeah. Like, let's fucking go. Because Warmogs isn't necessarily the best item on Wukong, but it works out really well because I have double Gargoyle. So double Gargoyle gives you a bunch of armor and MR, and then I want a bunch of HP, and that's like completing the whole tank thing, right? The only other thing I can get on him is like some durability maybe, but you know, we'll see how it goes. The only problem is like now I have this extra Titans that's kind of useless. It's 2 item drops. It's Scuttle Puddle. This is the part that kind of sucks, right? I don't really have anybody to itemize. I sold the Kog'Maws a while ago because there's another player that was playing Kog'Maw, so I didn't necessarily think that I was going to hit Kog'Maw 3 or anything like that. So I just take items to eventually hit a Morgana. I just want to have like mana tank items to try and have a Morgana that can do some work for me. This is the other dragon player. He has a Smolder 2, and the other guy went bot 4, so Smolder's getting back into the pool. I'm just stressed about the Nomzi 4. I did high roll, right? Obviously because of the Wukong 3, but a lot of other people high rolled really hard as well. This guy's a really strong setup, so obviously I'm going to lose because it's fast 9. He has Briar and Smolder. I think both of these guys have Briar too, by the way. So, you know, like, I don't understand it. Like, they all hit, right? It's Scuttle Puddle, of course, so everybody has a bunch of gold, but that's usually what happens. But it's very high roll for 2 people to be playing around the same 5 cost and then to all hit. There was actually 3 people playing around all the 5 costs, and they all have, like, you know, the guy that died had like 2 Smolders. The 2 people that are alive both have Briar too. It's like, that's crazy. Like, I've gone whole games where I don't see it. I should have held on to that Smolder, by the way. I should have held on to this Smolder to grief the other player, because that's the only guy that can beat me. The only guy that can beat me is the Nomzi 4 player. Maybe the other dragon player can beat me, so I didn't care. But I think he dies to one of these other players. This guy, I think I outscale now. Having Morgana in with some items, I should be able to out DPS him. The problem is he got Earthquake, so my Jinx didn't start scaling until a lot later. So it's a little bit scary, but I think we still win. Yeah, I'm just too much damage. That's even with like Earthquake that stopped my dude from like scaling early. And who's left over? The final fight is gonna be this guy who hit his Smolder. So Nomzi 4 3 dragon upgrade. The Nomzi has so much damage. I don't even think my Wukong can withstand it. I'm going to try and just roll for charm here and try and get... Like, I just need to beat this guy 1 time, by the way. He's 2 HP. He was 5 HP and he probably fed Briar. So 2 HP. If I beat him many turns ago, he wouldn't be 2 HP. He'd be fucking dead. And I would be able to go first. You know what I mean? So that's what I was saying. Like, whenever you're looking at these boards, you should always try and position every single round. This is a fight. If I lose this game, if I don't go first, it is entirely my fault. I'm not trying to complain about the game. I'm saying it is 100% my fault. Because I could have killed this guy many turns ago if I positioned a little bit better. Right? Maybe not. Maybe it wouldn't have worked out. It would have been like a 1 unit loss. So technically it'd be like, you know, he'd be a little bit less HP. But he would have been dead. Right? I'm fairly certain he would have been dead. Right? So this loss is entirely on me. Entirely on me. But anyways, I got red buff. I didn't have anti-heal for this entire time. I think I actually forgot that I didn't have anti-heal at one point. But you know, we have Morgana. I might play Preserver over Chrono in like the final fights. I'm rolling for Morgana. Excuse me, I'm rolling for Morgana 2 basically. I'm rolling out these Nomzis in case the carousel gave me a Hunter span. I can play 6 Hunter. I roll here. I don't hit a I don't hit a charm that I bought a charm. Oh, okay. I have a charm, so I'm fine. I bought the charm that gives Voidlings, and hopefully that's good enough. But like I said, I do not think I'm beating this Nomzi. The Nomzi just chews through my... Like, I have a Wukong 3, double Gargoyle, and Warmogs. I'm pretty sure this Nomzi is going to, like, 2-shot it. Like, look, the Nomzi is going to die. Like, look, my Wukong's already going to die in, like, a turn. And he has Briar too. Like, on top of it. So look, my front line's already dead. My front line's dead before his front line. You know what I mean? Like, I literally can't do anything. Because it's not even like a damage issue. It's like a damage issue, a tank issue. It's like an everything issue. I'm completely outclassed. So props to that guy. But man, if I just positioned better that one fight, it would have been a first. And it was so many turns ago. That's a testament of why, like, when I VOD review and I look at these things, these are the type of optimizations that's really help you to rank up, right? Like, stuff like this is what allowed me to get to Masters in the first place, because you would be surprised how many times stuff like that happens if you're in Diamond or you're in like something, or in some other elo, right? Like when I was like starting to learn the game and I was like still in plat and diamond and those like elos, VOD reviews like these, when I see these mistakes like this, learning from that and being very vigilant when you're actually playing the game, you get so many placements, right? It's so much optimization. Like here, obviously that one mistake is what cost me a placement at the end. Obviously there was other mistakes I made. There's so many rounds I didn't have Kog'Maw on the right side. But this isn't like a placement like, oh, I lost that fight, therefore I lost. This was like, I could have killed this guy earlier, and by me letting him live, he hit Exodia, right? And it's like, you know, those are things that you can work on, that you can fix, right? I work on them always. Anyways, hopefully this video has been enjoyable. Hopefully, if you didn't learn something, at least it was fun to watch. Maybe you haven't been playing Wukong Jinx, you can try it out for yourself. This game was a little bit of high roll, and how I hit the Wukongs in the Jinx, you should expect to hit it a little bit later. A lot of times you hit Wukong 3, Jinx 3 at the start of stage 5. I did get to like the final board where I'm playing like Morgana 2. Sometimes you can fit in Arcana instead, which is also very strong. But here it's just like a Nomzi 4 is just so incredibly strong. There's very little I can do about it. I take Bloodthirster. I think I'm just trying to give my Morgana some sort of shielding. I'm trying to roll for some sort of good charm. I get Radiant Bloodthirster on Olaf. Sure, let's try it out. I take Shojin, put Shojin on the Kog'Maw for a faster cast. Reforge the last item. It might have been QSS. Honestly, it might have been QSS on Jinx, because the Briar stuns the Jinx sometimes. This guy got the trench coat augment, so I'm pretty sure it's GG. It's a good enough augment that I can't really deal with it. But yeah, level 9, featherweights, Nomzi 4, just chewing through my entire board. They changed Nomzi, so now if he doesn't kill a unit, if he kills a unit, he like passes overkill damage onto your other units. So as soon as my Wukong's dead, he just like completely one-shots my backline as well. It is what it is. But that's the game. So hopefully it was a fun, enjoyable watch. If you want to try out Wukong Jinx, you can try it out for yourself. It is very strong. It's one of the best comps this patch. If you start the game and you see like your whole lobby looks like they're buying low cost units, like in this case, definitely angle yourself towards a reroll comp, right? I tried to play around Sterix early and tempo it and have a really commanding position for most of my mid game because of it. It wasn't necessarily the best thing I could have done, but it did set me up really, really well for my late game. And then having like a strategy like that works out really well, especially if you have a lot of removers. If you look at the game in general, like everybody has 3-star units on their board, minus the last board that has a 4-star unit on their board. So you always have to be prepared for that. You always want to keep up with the rest of the lobby. So if there are a lot of rerolls, it makes it easier for you to hit your units. And additionally, like, you know, while they're spiking and hitting like 3 stars, you don't have to like bleed out trying to find a 4 cost, because sometimes that just puts you in a bad situation. But anyways, thank you for watching. Hopefully that was enjoyable, and I'll see you guys around. Bye-bye.